everybody, KC0BI Tom here. We decided we're going to go camping. Me and little Dougie, we've had enough. We're going to load the camp prep and go camping. Now, a few episodes back, we talked about check sheets, how check sheets are kind of important when you go camping. Kind of keep that frame of mind so you don't forget anything safety-wise. And normally when we decide to go camping, I always like to get out here a couple days beforehand, start the refrigerator, fill the water tanks. While that's filling up, that gives a chance, time for the refrigerator to start working, come down to temp. I hate to load the stuff up Saturday morning, turn on the refrigerator, get to our destination and find out we got a problem with the refrigerator. So this is kind of a nice way to do it. Now, one thing, if you don't have one of these, this is one of those infrared thermometers. They're getting cheaper. I picked this one up at one of the big box stores for $10, $9.99. And what we do is just, while the refrigerator is running, we'll open up the freezer, shoot in there, and it's 82 degrees in the rig. I hope it's not 82 in the... No, it's not 82 degrees in the camper. It somehow got moved over to hold mode. But this has been running for about 15-20 minutes, and we're already down to like 30 degrees, 35 degrees in the freezer compartment. And here in the fridge, we're down to, oh, it's about 60. It's like 85 here outside and about 90 something inside. That's why I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I'm going to refire up the air conditioner. Let's go outside. We're going to run through our check sheet. Like to do is start with a clean refrigerator, get in and wipe it down on the inside, start it up. While that's running, cooling down, I'll fill the water tank. Usually this couple days before, that gives the refrigerator time to get cooled down. So when we're packing our clothes, packing food, like that Friday morning or Thursday night, the refrigerator is nice and cool. Get the stuff for the animals. Then right before we leave, we'll disconnect power, walk around, make sure all the doors are locked. Check the camp, the main doors on the camper. Check the route for any road constructions. Walk it around the rig, just make sure everything's locked up, nothing's hanging loose, everything's nice and tight. Then the fun one, loading everybody, then hit the road. Now we got the fridge running. We're going to hook up the water line to the city side of the rig, start filling and pressurizing the lines, then we'll start filling the tank. We're out here between the building and the camper. We got our hose with our filter and our adapter to city water. And what you want to do is crack this open and count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you notice that first blast was black from the carbon filter. So what we'll do is, since we got that rinsed out now and there's no little critters that have decided to make up a home over the winter time in my hose adapter, we'll hook this up to city side of the RV. Now, one thing you got to remember, all the low points are open and a sink valve in there is open. So make sure before you energize this line that you go in there and shut that sink off, or whatever faucet is the highest you have, to allow air to get in the system. Leave the low points open, and we'll talk about that when we get inside where it's a lot cooler. We got the water turned on, water going through the filter into the tank, and we're charging the city side. Let's go inside. This is our water pump. This is the line that comes from the tank. This is our filler for antifreeze in the wintertime. This is one of the low points, and it's open, so we'll close that, and that's going to stop the flow. Again, you want to let that run for a couple minutes to blow out, rinse out anything in that line that's been sitting there over summer. Let's go back and check the other two low points. This is a real fun one. It's under the bed. That's the water heater. We've already rinsed out the system from the summertime, so that's in bypass. We'll reach down in here, we'll close both of these. One is the low point. You can't see anything, trust me. Before the water heater, and the other one is the output of the water heater. So right now, we should have water flowing into the water heater. As you can see where the water is coming out of those two low points. Again, leave them open for a little bit, allow them to flush out the system. On the water heater, where that petcock valve is, that's the anno rod, and that's a special anno rod that's got a hollow core that allows you to drain out of it. We'll open up our PT valve, blow off the air off the top of the system. That kind of, that air is rushing out and it's filling up the deal. We'll close this petcock. And now we will wait till we get all the air out of the hot water tank. That way we'll have a full water tank there. When you do this, plan on getting wet, because no matter how hard you try not to get wet, you will get wet. And there we got water coming out of the system, so we'll go ahead and close our pressure temperature valve. It states on there you should open it up once in a while to test it, so all you naysayers says you shouldn't play with those, yes, you should exercise them. Kitchen sink, this faucet's the highest point of the water inside the RV. What we'll do first is cold side, and we should have water instantly because that's just a straight shot to these. Make sure there's no foam. The foam is a little bit of antifreeze in there. That looks good. Now we'll switch over on the hot water side, and we get a little blast of air, a little bit of foam from the antifreeze that's still on the line. It's not going to be perfect when you rinse it out, but you do the best you can. And we should be about done here. Yep. Now the RV antifreeze is safe to drink in case you do leave some in there. It just tastes a little bitter. And that looks pretty good. So now we got the lines that run to the kitchen sink are purged. We'll go over here to the bathroom sink. Trying to hit my head. Again, I always like to open up the cold water first because the cold water is a straight shot to the sink. The hot water side is from the hot water heater, so we can help bleed that line. I see that's nice and good. Then we'll do the same thing in the dirty bathtub. And if you're paying close attention, you notice I opened up the wrong valve first, but it doesn't really matter. By now, this is all purged out. Okay, now the toilet side. You always want to make sure that you have water in the bottom of your toilet. Make sure that seal stays nice and good, because if that seal dries out, you won't be able to have water in here. If you have no water in the bottom of the bowl, you're going to allow gases from the septic tank or the black tank come up and make your camper nice and stinky. What I normally do is fill it about there, dump it, we'll fill it again. Then we'll dump it. Then on this time, these little drop-in, excuse me, enzyme tablets or enzyme packets. I like to use these, and we'll drop one in. And what happens, that outside plastic is water soluble, so by the time we get this filled up, we want a little bit of water in the tank, so when that packet gets down there, it'll start eating away on what little residues in there and start creating more bacteria, more enzymes to break down the solids that will come out of me. Then what I like to do the last time on the third is go about that much, about a fourth way through for a good water seal. Now, if this is your first time, excuse me, wiping the sweat off, it's still about 90 degrees in here. If this is your first camping trip for the season or the last camping trip, what I do, I learned this from the old man, was fill the black water tank up about 3/4 to 80% full. Again, it's going to sit there for a couple days here while I'm loading up the rest of the stuff. That's going to, any solids in there, it's going to give a chance for that solid to soak. The enzyme tablets in there is going to start working away on those. Then we go to the campground, that extra amount of water in that tank's be sloshed around, kind of power washing it, you know, scrubbing everything down in there. Then when I get to the campground, first thing I do is I dump the tank once we, you know, if there's a dump station there, dump it, then go to my spot, or if the spot has full hookups, I'll get everything set up, then I'll dump it there. But it's just a nice handy way, and I do not have any trouble with my sensors acting up. They stay nice and clean. They're not always 100% accurate, but they never were from brand new. It's just that it's a cheap and dirty way they do it. But this keeps the tank nice and clean. And if you really want to get grungy, one of these days we'll do it. We'll stick the GoPro down there so you can see what the inside of the tank looks like. I haven't got the courage yet to do it, so. We have the lines all blown out, all the air's out, full of water. Allow the lines to run in the sinks to fill the traps, get those flushed out. And the toilet, we got that, the black tank pre-treated. So what we're gonna do is take off a little adapter hose. This is the filler hose to get into the tank, water tank. Again, open up, 2, 3, for about a 5 count. Make sure there's nobody living in there. And that just slides right into there. You just kind of let it hang like so. Crack open. Now the tank itself, the valve on it is still open, the drain valve. I kind of like to do that while I'm filling it. That way we're rinsing everything that's on the bottom of the tank out. And I thought I heard the hose fell out, but it didn't. So we're rinsing out the bottom of the tank. And what we'll do here, we'll get inside, we'll fire up the water pump and just make sure we can purge water from the tank into the lines and go from there. Pump's running. Got some air bubbles in there. Got a little antifreeze in there. We'll get that purged out. There we go. We'll get the tank filled up. And the other thing I like to do while I'm waiting for that to fill up, I'll take a washcloth and a bucket of water, soapy water, go around. I say I got to clean the sink and the toilet looked a little dirty. We get that all cleaned up. We'll be right back once the water tank is done and continue on with our checklist. Water tank is all full. Unhook the hose, put the caps back on, make sure those caps are on nice and securely. We don't want to have little critters go in there. You hate to have your family get sick because something you aren't do too good, making sure everything was nice and secure. While I was out there waiting for the tank to get full, I walked around the outside, found a couple places where, sorry, sniffles. My caulking on the outside, my seams are coming bad. So in July, I got a couple weeks vacation coming up. I'll probably be out here caulking. Not sure if we'll do anything about that. We did one before. But now, the refrigerator, I checked that right before I fired up the camera, is still cooling down. So tomorrow when I come home from work, I can get groceries that I'm gonna have for meals for the weekend, load that up, load my refreshments. I'll start packing my clothes, the dog stuff. And so Friday when I get home from work, throw some gas in this thing and head down to the campground. We are Friday afternoon, later than I want to be. Right, Mrs. Crowley? Up here, your fans are over here. Got the dog, we got dog supplies, food, water, leash. Oop, we got treats, gotta get your bag of treats. Clothes are packed. Refrigerator is stocked with food and adult beverages. Shut out the refrigerator. Again, I believe you should not travel with propane or propane accessories turned on. And that fridge right now is like 38 degrees. It'll stay nice and cool for a good 6-7 hours as you're traveling. Just don't open the door every 5 minutes to get a snack out. I'm going to do a quick walk around the camper. Make sure the doors are shut, the cats are fed, watered. You ready to go? Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, other hams. Subscribe, hit that bell to get notification when new videos come out. Add comments below. 7-3 everybody.